How do you transition out of a full-time job into your side hustle to go full-time? What does that even look like, and how do you get out of it without burning bridges? That's what we're talking about in today's video. Hey, I'm Elise Cartwright. Welcome to the Hustle and Groove channel, where we talk about all things email marketing, productivity, and side hustle related. So you're thinking about how to transition out of your full-time job and go full-time in your side hustle. Congratulations! This is probably one of the best things that you can do when you're in your side hustle. But before you make that step, let's look at what you need to do beforehand to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success instead of just jumping straight in feet first without thinking about any of the possible implications and consequences of doing this. So before you resign, think about a couple of things like, what bills do you need to make sure are covered? So generally, when you're thinking about quitting your job, you want to make sure that your side hustle is at least covering your half of the bills. So when I quit my job, that's exactly where I had got my side hustle to, was I had replaced half of my income. So I knew that I could pay my bills, and that as soon as I went full-time in my side hustle, that I would be able to increase my income. Because there is definitely a time where you can only do so much part-time, and if it's something that you're enjoying doing and you want to pursue it full-time, then you need to make a plan. So think about what that looks like. I would also encourage you to make sure that you have at least a month's worth of savings, if not a little bit longer. Now, you can kind of get a gauge for what that might look like for your own business based on the consistency of clients and the consistency of gigs that you've currently got coming in. So if you can project that you know at least for the next 6 months that you've got a solid base of clients, then you may decide that you only need a month's worth of savings. Now, if you're wanting to go through this pretty fast and you don't necessarily have a solid base, then I would consider having at least 3 months worth of savings in the bank, just to ease off the pressure for you when you go full-time, because there is definitely pressure when you quit your job and start full-time to make that money back. So make sure that you've got that in place. And then in terms of the actual resigning piece, look at your calendar and work out when you want to do this. So for me, when I went through this process, I gave my company 2 months notice. Now, I actually only needed to give them a month's notice, but I wanted to put a date to it for myself that was comfortable, so that I wasn't feeling like, holy crap, this 1 month time frame is just going to come up really quick. And it did. Even the 2 month notice was fast. So do whatever makes the most sense for you and pick a date and then work backwards. What do you need to do to have all of these things in place before you quit your job? And one tip that I can give you is, don't burn your bridges. Don't leave there on uncomfortable terms. Make sure you leave there on a happy, positive note. And it generally is, because most companies really can't fault you for going off and doing something on your own. Keep things amicable, because you never know when you might want to connect with their network. You might want to chat with your boss about something further down the track. So don't burn any bridges if possible. Okay, so now you've quit your job. What does that now look like? Well, I can tell you this. The first week, just get out of bed when you feel like it. Take the time to bask in the fact that you just quit your job and went full-time in a side hustle that you started 8 months ago, for example. So bask in that. But don't bask in that for too long. You definitely want to set some routines as quickly as possible. My routines were very much making sure that I have set hours, that I know that my butt is going to be in this chair between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. Monday to Friday. That's what that looks like for me. And that I am working with clients or students Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So you have to make this determination, because remember, the great thing about going full-time in your side hustle is that you get to choose what your hours look like. Even if you're working with clients, you still set what that looks like. So figure out what that is and then stick to it. Don't get lazy and get out of bed at 10 a.m. unless that is exactly what you want to do and you generally work more at night. So it is about figuring out what your routine is going to be, what your hours are, and then making sure that you communicate them to the people that need to know. Particularly if you're working at home, make sure that you have set some boundaries around your workspace. You should only be in your workspace when you're working. If you're not working, get out of that workspace. Otherwise, you can end up working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, particularly if, like me, you love what you do. So I have to set some really strong boundaries around the time that I'm in my office. Otherwise, I would just end up being in here every single day, all day, until about 10, 11 o'clock at night, because I just love doing the things that I do. So I've set really good boundaries and I've communicated what that looks like to my husband so that he can also keep me accountable too, and just say, hey, aren't you supposed to have been finished now? We were going to go and do something. So we also plan things together. So that is one part of that. But then it's also making sure that you set boundaries with your clients too. So if you are going to only work with clients Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, what happens if an emergency comes up with a client? How will you manage those types of things? So make sure that you've got some really clear boundaries and that you've got some really good set routines to be able to transition into being able to work from home and work full-time in your side hustle. It is one of the most exciting things that you can do when you transition out of your full-time job into doing something that you have created. It is the best feeling in the world, and I'm excited for you. So if you enjoyed this video, or if you've enjoyed any of my other videos, I would love it if you subscribed and hit the bell to get notified when the next one comes through. And your immediate action step is to create your transition plan. What does that look like? What's your exit date? And then what are your routines going to be when you work from home? And I'll see you in the next video.